Talk to us, Bobby.
Yeah.
Good evening, fight fans. Welcome to another great episode of Headkicks and Haymakers. I'm your boy Bodkins, and of course with me is Mr. Bobby Blunts. Bobby, we got a jam-packed show tonight. We'll be obviously previewing UFC 319, Dricus du Plessis versus Khamzat Chimaev for the middleweight title. But Bobby, 1 week ago, we sat here and we talked about the WWE going to ESPN. We both said we definitely think the UFC is going to stay at ESPN. You said, I think it's going to be, the paywall is going to go. I said, if this deal makes me think that the paywall is going to stay if they stay at ESPN. And by God, we were both wrong. They are not at ESPN, as we found out, I believe, Monday morning, a 7-year, pretty much $7 billion deal to go to CBS/Paramount, and no more paywall. And I know, no more pay-per-view. Dana, I think he's doing the promoter thing. I don't think they're going to have a paywall. And it's going to be a lot less cheaper to be a UFC fan, at least for the first year under this Paramount deal. Your thoughts on what all this means?
I mean, I've sat with it a few days, and I really don't even still know what the hell it means. Definitely, I thought the writing was on the wall for them to go back to ESPN with, the deal that was announced with WWE going to ESPN. But then again, at the same time, you saw how the Paramount deal came into play, and it really seemed like it all came into play the last 48 hours. And, they gave the UFC 7.7 billion reasons to go with them. And last week, I kind of, the speculation behind maybe getting away from the pay-per-view model is, are they going to be given such a huge chunk of the coin where they don't really have to worry about any of those guarantees or anything? And that was the number, was 1.1 billion with a B a year. And I mean, just looking back from when Zuffa originally acquired the UFC and stuff on a deal that more or less happened on the back of a cocktail napkin, it's pretty wild to see. I mean, it will definitely help mainstream the sport even more. I think the UFC has really outgrown ESPN. Some people might think that sounds kind of crazy, but I don't really see the benefit of what they were getting from ESPN. It wasn't they were running stuff with First Take and all that. They always felt like they were more on the back burner than baseball. And baseball is literally, ending their deal with the UFC or with MLB or ESPN. And it's kind of just strange to watch it all kind of play out, because something that we would think would be completely impossible a few years ago is just really different with this game. And just, they want to pretty much launch their network, and this is kind of the best way to do it, knowing that, a lot of the fans will follow. So I think they're, relying on a lot of subscriptions the first year and stuff. How long will all of this last? I'm not really sure. I mean, I'm old enough to remember when pay-per-views were still $49.99 on ESPN. That lasted for about a year, and then it kind of all went up. So is it going to be a permanent move off the pay-per-view game? For now, it sounds like it. But, to sum it up quickly, it seems like a win for the organization and a huge win for the fans that actually pay for the product.
Yeah, I think you're. I think you're right. So my thoughts initially, like when we initially heard it, was like, oh, the pay per views are going to be like all on CBS, and I was like, holy shite, like that's great, like that's wild. But then now they've scaled that back. It seems like you're going to get about 4 pay per views on CBS, which is like, that's local. You know what I mean? Like that's anybody with bunny ears, you can get those. I think that's huge. That's going to grow the sport because that's going to be eyes. And I think those will be big cards on the CBS. I definitely think you're getting this, the White House card on CBS. The deal is backloaded, as we found out. Like the deal is backloaded because they literally purchased like the rights more than what Paramount's worth. Paramount's worth was like $6 billion. They bought the TV rights were $7 billion, so they backloaded most of that contract. I think the first year or so you'll be able to buy Paramount pretty cheap, what it is right now. But I think that subscription is probably going to go up, as most things do, once they get you hook, line, and sinker. But it sounds like everything. I would like to know if the whole catalog, from like UFC 1 to now, you know what I mean? UFC 319 is going to be on Paramount. Like that would be incredible. So it is a deal. From all things that we've heard or read, is that it is. They were going to do like the 36 fight nights on Paramount, and then split up the pie. The pay-per-views go someplace else, and then Paramount came in with a strong number. As far as like the ESPN deal, I'm a little surprised they left ESPN. I thought that the sport did well under ESPN, but you're kind of right. It was just like, here's a graphic, and then like ESPN I think they got complacent on ESPN. Like, we got our time slot. It doesn't really matter what the fuck we put on. If I'm Paramount, I'm paying $1.1 billion a year. You better give me the best damn product every Saturday night you can give me. Let's get rid of these stupid, allegedly they're building seats into the Apex, 1,500 seats or, whatever it is, which would be nice. That would be good. But we'll see. I hope that we're not getting those old Apex cards where you're just like, well, I can snooze on this one. I'll let you just hold on a second. There's what's crazy. And here we are, Bobby, though, like 20 years ago, almost to the day, like almost around 20 years of the Fighter First, UFC, the Ultimate Fighter Season 1, when they didn't have a deal. This was 2005, 2006, when they didn't have a deal, and they had to they pretty much like bought their own time on Spike TV to do the Ultimate Fighter, which Intense saved. And now here we are 20 years later, they're getting a deal done for billions, $1 billion a year.
Yeah, it's baffling if you think about it from the very start of it, like especially when it was on Spike. And even if you look at the history of like CBS, when they had the rights to Bellator, I know that original Kimbo fight was on there.
Elite XC, yeah.
Yeah, like that's where the Nashville Brawl went down with the infamous "these things happen in MMA." And, this is where, NFL is on, college football is on. So
March Madness.
Yeah, it's only going to help improve the sport. Like it will continue to help it get bigger, where I don't think they were really getting that at ESPN, like especially with it being on ESPN Plus. They had select things going on ESPN, and when I saw that number, like the 7.7 billion, the one thing it assured me is, okay, cool. So we'll be in the apex for the rest of our lives, because the only way they meet that schedule is, obviously using the apex. And
they were using that schedule beforehand, though, Bobby. It's the same schedule.
Yeah, which is why it's a little bit more nerve-wracking that they continue to do it and try to fall back with, oh, well, we have to do it this way because of how the contract was set up. They were on the road, prior to everything getting shut down. And the thing I found hilarious about it was them talking about wanting to add to the Apex with like the amount of fans and stuff. Imagine just acting like that is the problem. Like, I know a big part of it is what we harp on is that it feels lifeless, but at no point did they actually make it sound like, oh, we're going to actually give you some better quality cards. It's no, don't worry. We'll just cram more people in here. And if they are those style of events, do you think they're really going to be able to fill it like that? I mean, I would think they would have to put a little bit more effort, but
Yeah.
And Dana White shot this down immediately at the Contender Series press conference, saying that's not how I roll. But
proof's in the pudding. It is how you've rolled the last at least
yeah,
2 years. I would say 2 to 3 years.
To me, it gave them 1.1 billion a year to be complacent and to just give them whatever product they want. Now, I have no doubt in my mind that they're gonna, load it very heavy in the start. Like when the Fox deal started, they did that one fight with
Cain
and
Velasquez
Junior
versus
Dos Santos. So I mean, we are definitely gonna get some big things like that. But I wonder, maybe 2-3 years into this, what is this actually going to look like? Like, do you remember like when the ESPN Plus deal happened and you kind of got a little bit of the buyer's remorse? Like, well, this is feeling a little formulaic. Will it continue to be like that? I mean, a lot of this sounds like it's going to be on Paramount and how they do stuff. I know it's not going to be the same as how they did Bellator and stuff because they're completely new people there. So Dana did sound excited to, have them as a partner, but it's going to be very interesting to see how it actually ends up playing out in the long haul. Because I mean, 7 years does sounds like a long time, but at the same time, with how they put on fights every Saturday, at what point do we get into this deal?
I don't think that they know the logistics yet, right? Like the way, like you mentioned Dana at the presser last night, like he was like, we got to figure it out. Like, cause somebody asked him like, hey, does this mean we're going to get earlier start times? Probably. I don't know. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so I think like, he's like, it just depends on like whatever they want to do. Like the networks, like whatever time they want us to fight, that's what time we're going to put the fights on. So maybe we're going to get a little earlier. I know you don't have to worry about it, but us, Central Time Zone, Eastern Time Zone, and the folks across the pond, we could use an hour or two early starter time.
Yeah, or are we going to keep, putting on these events in China at 3 a.m. my time?
Yeah,
I think that's
6 a.m. I'm excited for that one. I'll get up and eat breakfast and watch the fights.
Yeah, and I could look at it very similar to how, like if you compare it to NFL, you got your morning games, you got your afternoon games, you got your evening games. They have those painful.
Just start drinking earlier, brother.
Yeah, they have those painful London games that normally require me to be up by like 5 a.m. and stuff.
Yeah.
But the NFL has such a product that people will follow and kind of make those commitments. And I think long term, that's kind of what the UFC is hoping to kind of take that next step with it. I get that it's streaming, but at the same time, it's on, local cable television.
Here's a list of fighters you won't see on CBS: Sean Strickland, Colby Covington, couple others. They won't be on that CBS. They'll stick them just strictly on Paramount.
I normally agree, but at the same time, especially with how that deal went down and all the pieces that had to be in place, I think this is more Paramount / CBS being like, no, we want to be in business with these type of people.
Yeah, agreed. I'm just kind of being facetious a little bit because it is CBS. That's local, like the most, Dan Rather. We grew up with Dan Rather on CBS Evening News. Like those types. Like we're talking CBS. So like not so much Paramount, like those big four cards. It's going to be interesting, and I think the price, somebody said it's like $8, $10 or something like that a month for subscription for Paramount.
Yeah, and that will help get a lot. There are a lot of people that can't wait to cancel their ESPN Plus and stuff. I am a little concerned that what if ESPN Plus retains Contender Series, and I know Tough won't get you to stick around, but I mean, if they retain Contender Series, it might be kind of genius on ESPN's part, because those hardcore people that want to watch those type of stuff with new talent coming into the thing, that might be enough to keep them around, especially if they're talking about expanding Contender Series. So the one thing I noticed with when they were talking about the WWE deal is it seemed like the reason ESPN wanted to be married to them is they truly don't have an off season. Like,
No.
I know that the UFC technically doesn't as well, but there are, times where it's a lot more lackluster and stuff like that, to where the WWE kind of has creative control to be able to, meet these demands that ESPN might have for content.
Well, and you're getting the PLEs, right? They're PLEs, and that's what I guess. I guess that's what UFC will call them. The numbered cards, PLEs instead of pay-per-views, maybe. They're just, and those are once a month, and those are always their best, like card, I guess, or you know what I mean. Matches are supposed to be the storylines and everything else. So
yeah, the only hesitation I have with it is when the WWE moved to PLE, just in my opinion, massive decline from the paper. It no longer felt special like that. Like, yeah, you had the WrestleMania and SummerSlam, but they did a lot better job at making me want to watch the product.
I think so. I'll say this. I think the 4 pay-per-views, the 4 big ones for WWE have always been huge. I think it got watered down a little bit, for a while, with like having all these weird, pay-per-views like once a month, instead of, they probably should just do every other month to build the storylines. But it's like every month they have a PLE, and I think that's where it gets watered down. And those PLEs, like, I think the last year or two they've been pretty good, but like there's been some, like it was like Great Balls or whatever, Hot Balls, and there's like all these other weird ass pay-per-views, Vengeance or something, have just all been Backlash or whatever it is, have all been just kind of mediocre, and not the greatest.
Yeah, well, just I mean, I'm kind of more comparing it like to the 90s, where you couldn't miss those events.
Yeah. Oh, of course.
And now it's to the point where, yeah, I don't really feel like watching this, but I can tune in to SummerSlam and WrestleMania and still be, tapped in. And I really just hope that isn't kind of what happens to the UFC and going to Paramount, because it's kind of already felt that way. Like, ever since we knew the rights deal was coming up, the last year or two, it really felt like it was on autopilot, aside from Dana getting excited about 300. And then the Noche thing was just more of a logistic thing than actually a good card. So, but like you said, they're going to get the teams together and figure everything out. And I have no doubt that it could be better. I'm just hoping that it does not feel like stale in the long run.
Yeah. I think you're right, and we're gonna pour one out here just for the pay-per-views, because it's been a little something. I mean, that's the times like, when we first started watching the UFC, it's like guys got together at somebody's house, you chipped in, especially early, right before the streaming days. Everybody chip in, pay $10, $20, or $10, $5 to get together, watch the fights, or you go out to the bars and watch the fights, wherever it may be. watching those pay-per-views then, and then streaming, obviously you start streaming it and things like that. And now you don't have to worry about none of it. So, the pay-per-views always seem special, like, right. Oh, it's time to get together, with the gang and the crew. And now you're not going to do any of that. I mean, you can, but it just won't be that special about it,
Yeah. And that's like part of the reason that, like, I don't want to say like the pay-per-view aspect of it is dying, but there's so many cards I can count on a hand. It's like, oh, well, there's a number next to it, so we know it's a pay-per-view. But then you're looking at it, and, like, to be clear, I am not referring to this like fucking weekend at all. Like,
I mean, you can look at last week
on that. Terrific.
Yeah.
But all the other, it's like, ugh, like,
yeah. I got to pay $80 for this. As the price goes up and the product it seemed to have been going down the last year or two, and the pay-per-view buys. Now, Dana did say too, like, we are going to get, the fighter. He hasn't talked. He didn't really say he got to figure out the pay-per-view points, but did say bonuses will be going up immensely. So that, I think that's huge for the fighters, obviously. You can still fight on. Hey, Bobby, you can still fight on this 12-12 deal, but you get a knockout, baby. We might be giving you $100K.
I mean, the bonuses for like the longest time have been kind of the same as where they were, and he said, "Oh, well, every time we make a new deal, fighter pay always goes up." And yeah, sure, that makes sense, but just imagine, like, if this was actually unionized.
Oh yeah.
Like the fact that it's $7.7 billion completely in their pocket, and it will be interesting.
The fighters get a zero if they wanted to 0% of that. Unlike the NBA, NFL, where the players get a certain percentage of the TV money.
Yeah, and, like, especially we know how managers are very, close with the UFC because, they represent multiple fighters and stuff. And it definitely might be time to, like, be able to do a manager check and at least get a little bit of an idea. And I'm sure they're going to deal with all this stuff in tiers. But, I won't be pessimistic on it until we actually see it happen. But, my point of view, they could increase it quite a bit and it still wouldn't be enough because they're still always getting a smaller piece of the pie.
Yeah.
So, what up, Whit?
What up,
Whit?
We were just kind of wrapping up. Hold on, Singh here, and we'll get to the 319 talk here in just a second. But Singh here said Hamzat versus DDP predictions. Hamzat via majority decision. Hamzat wins 10-8 in round 1. Round 2 is close. DDP wins 3 and 4. Close round 5. Hamzat gets majority decision. That's Singh's prediction. So we'll see. I don't know if they will. We'll see. Singh. We'll get to our predictions here in just a minute. But Whit, we were just kind of talking the new UFC deal to go to Paramount. 7 years, $7 billion, which averages out to be about $1 billion. Do you have any thoughts about it? We've just kind of been sharing our thoughts on what that kind of means. And do you have any thoughts on the deal?
Yeah, bro. First of all, it's always great to be back hanging with the gang, man. Miss the guys. Straight up, like this is what I was kind of alluding to before I took my little hiatus. The new thought process, Turkey Al-Sheikh has been kind of kicking to not just the promoters of the fight game, but of course Dana White, who's going to be working with him on the new project. They've been trying to figure out a way to say that, well, since everybody is pirating it, let's put it on a platform or several that we can profit from and see the margins. Because what ends up happening is everybody, a large majority of the money is lost due to streaming. But if I'm not mistaken, you can't really pirate a platform like Paramount Live. Okay, but the point would be, it makes it more convenient instead of still stealing it, right?
You can it makes it so people are more apt to probably subscribe than to pirate the. I'm like, if I subscribe, I can get all the Paramount stuff. But yeah, you can pirate you can pirate it all with yeah.
I mean, in my mind though, like, to think about it, like
if there's a link in the internet, you can get that shit somehow.
But see, what I was going to say is think about all the people that watch something as popular as the show Yellowstone, right?
Yeah, exactly.
If you watch Yellowstone, you can now watch UFC. I don't see a reason why I just might as well not just go ahead and get it. 1947. I watched that like a week or two ago because I was home with the kids. I watched 1887. One of those Yellowstone shows, and I was like, I'm stuck. I might as well keep Paramount. And then, pow, here we go, right in the kisser. I get UFC eventually. Now I'm wondering if they're going to transpose the like the library that ESPN.
That's what I said. I said I would like to. I would like. It would be interesting if they get from UFC 1 all the way to the last UFC, the pay-per-view of the year, and like the full library is there. That's a lot. I mean, especially if you add fight. I don't know if they'll add fight nights in that. That would be cool too, because there's been some killer ass fight nights that we've seen throughout.
Contender series, maybe. The
contender series separate deal.
Separate deal.
Yeah, they have not found a TV rights for contender series. Are tough or slap if you're interested.
Oh no, not slap.
I think they're using the slap pretty much. Whoever takes contender series, you got to take slap too.
Buy my slap, please. Dana's out there.
Please buy the slap. Please buy it. Please.
Yeah. But interesting. Yeah, I'm right there with you. We kind of you're hitting the same things that we kind of said. But I want to move to UFC 319. But before we talk about 319, it is interesting. It is the middleweight title on the line. Dricus du Plessis versus Khamzat Chimaev. But we now have a new contender at the middleweight, and that is none other than Fluffy Hernandez, who absolutely dominated Roman Dolidze on Saturday night. And here we are. They're flying. Fluffy said they are flying him to Chicago. I firmly don't believe Fluffy is next. I believe the winner of Caio versus Imanov is next. But for some odd reason, I mean, Fluffy has now entered into the title picture here, Bobby. Your thoughts on Fluffy's big win and this guy being a legit title contender?
That was the most fitting finish I have ever seen in the Apex. Literally dog walks him for 20 plus minutes. Dolidze is sticking his fingers in the cage multiple times. Herb is giving him every single warning known to man. And then finally, when Herb had enough in the 5th round, he's grabbing the cage. He goes, okay, that's it. 1 point. Does not move him or anything. And Fluffy just takes his neck and chokes him out. Like, I can't think of a more fitting finish after literally 50-45ing him the entire fight. I know a lot of people have said it, but I'm going to say it again. He looks like Cain Velasquez with the cardio. Just continuing to put it on him. And then in between rounds. And he literally knew, like, hey, I can get you here. About all Dolidze had was keep trying to go for the heel hook. He just kept, getting out of it and said, nah, come up there. I know Nitzik is never going to throw in the towel, but he probably could have saved his guy some brain damage because after that first round, and I know wild stuff happens all the time in their comebacks. I mean, look at Johnny Eblin. But it did not seem that the tides were really going to change there. And just imagine if that was in an actual arena. People would have been going nuts. I mean, they were going nuts in the Apex. But definitely a stamp for Fluffy to show that he's one away. If for some reason, some unforeseen stuff happens, they gave him the belt next, I'd have no issues, but I definitely think he probably is still one away. I would love absolutely love. Give me Fluffy versus RDR. Like that is just so entertaining. Two contenders, they've looked great. You're not sure what's going to happen. A lot similar to the main event this weekend. Give me some exciting shit like that for his next fight.
Wait, your thoughts on Mr. Fluffy?
Yeah, man, Mr. Fluffy himself. First of all, man, just like my guy Bob said, bro, it's really good to see Fluffy come out with a win like that. Like we all say this as people who take in the fights, like the names that you have on your resume that you defeated in tough times and tough situations.
Yeah, he's won like 12 in a row or something. Like he's on a nice streak.
Right, he's on a nice streak, but now he's got another name on there to go. Okay, not only did I win, but I finished him. Yeah, we can always point at Herb sometime and say, look, bro, you got to do a little bit better. But in the case where this was something, I think we can look back and say, hey, look, this is where the tide turned. This is where we started paying more attention. This is where somehow we got the idea of, hey, he could be the one, you know what I mean? Or we could put him out of a fight night and into, the main event or co-main event status. When we saw Fluffy, kind of ragdoll, what's my guy's name?
Delete Seth?
Yeah, not Delete Seth. I'm talking about before. I'm about to look. I'm cheating. I'm going to cheat. But the previous fight that I thought he was not going to do as well in, I thought, hey, look, this is going to be one of those moments where, look, the rubber's going to meet the road. Talking about Brandon Allen. There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, when he kind of ragdolled Brandon Allen in February, I think at that time we were a little more higher on Brandon Allen. And to see him go in there and pretty much attack him in a way that he could not defend, I think that really put me on the map of Fluffy. And I'm not saying that, looking at these names, Shabazian, Burial, Josh Freeman, Verrera, Rodolfo. Yeah, I'm saying we were privy to all of these fights, but he stayed extra busy in 2024. He had 2 fights canceled, but in the end, he bounced back in 2025. So I'm looking to see at the beginning of 26 where they stick him at the very top of the year. I would think on a fight card to say, hey, co-main, title elimination, something dope like that. It should be in the works for him.
Yeah. I'm going to push back here a little bit. I like Fluffy, but I don't think he's ready. Like, I would probably have a problem if they put him in the title right away. He hasn't really beat anybody. Like, I'm not saying he hasn't beat anybody, but he hasn't beat the top dogs. Like, RDR has a better win over him. Like, he beat Robert Whitaker. I think, Imanov, he just beat Izzy. I think Kaio, Bobby's least favorite bunch.
No.
He beat Jared Cannonier. That's a better win than Roman Dolittle.
Not the way that Fluffy put it on Cannonier. Kaio got fucked up in that fight too and took damage.
He still won. And I would take Cannonier. Cannonier's a betle fighter than Roman Dolittle is my whole point.
So you think Fluffy could beat Kaio?
I don't know.
I do. He would fucking
I'd like
Kyle
to see that.
like a blunt.
I'd like to see that. So I think Fluffy needs one more.
I agree completely.
Yeah, I would have a problem with him giving the title shot. Does he have like maybe the impressive just the way he did it, but I think Imanov finishing Izzy was more impressive. Now that could have been an early stoppage
my only pushback is Kaio. Like Kaio's win is shit compared to what he did
was
to
top 5.
Delisa.
Was top 5. That's my whole point. Like
Ritter was top 5 at the
time. Those rankings are straight up ass. Like
Cannonier is a former title contender.
And Cannonier's on the low roll too right now.
Cannonier is old and he put damage on Kaio. Fluffy did not get touched in that fight on Saturday.
I feel like he fought the lesser of the fighter, though, too, at the same time. That's my whole point. That's my pushback on what you're saying.
I get, if I was like campaigning for him to get a title shot, I would understand it. But I want him to fight RDR now.
Yeah, I'm good with that. I'm good with
give us an exciting fight.
Yeah.
But
yeah, no, I'm good with that.
Just the work that Fluffy did compared to the work Kyle did, just miles more of light work. Like Kyle looked like he was in a fight afterwards. Fluffy looked like he just finished cardio. Literally.
Again, I would tell you that he fought the lesser of the two fighters. But we mentioned Jared Cannonier, and what you know, Jared Cannonier is on UFC 319 this weekend against MVP, staying at middleweight. He was kind of on Ariel Helwani's show the other day, said he's done at welterweight, too much politics. He can get fights here at middleweight. But this card, I mean, it's absolutely stacked. It's one of the last 4 or 5 pay-per-views. This is definitely worth it.
One of the reasons why I came back today, I was like, I got to talk about this shit a little bit, though.
At the bottom, card of the year, not even close.
Yeah, Bobby, this is at the top. I mean, the main event. You've been talking about this fight being your most anticipated fight since January when we did our preview show. You said this is your most anticipated fight. At the bottom of the card, you have the tough finales. Then you got Brian Battle versus Nursultan Ruzabov. That's at middleweight. Brian Battle going up to middleweight. That's a dog fight. Edson Barbosa making his return to lightweight against Drakkar Klose. You got Chase Hooper going up against another elderly statesman and Alexander Hernandez. Then you got I feel like Jessica Andrade is on every other card, but she's on this one as well. And on the Forever Game, Lupe Gomez. You got Gerald Mearshart. They let Gerald Mearshart out of the Apex. Like I never thought that would happen. You got Bobby King Green versus Diego Ferreira.
On the prelims. If this was any other pay-per-view, they'd have him on the main card. That just shows how stacked this motherfucker is.
That's the prelims, and we'll get into the main card. Whit, I'm going to start with you. What fight out of the prelims are you looking at like, hey, that's the one I want to tune into?
Being real with you guys, man, I was literally going somehow, some way, this for prelims, Edson Barboza, we got Drakkar Klose. What? That's a preliminary fight? Like, come on, dog. That's normally start the main card type right there. Yeah. For me, for two I really got my eyes on is Chase Hooper and Alexander Hernandez. Now, Chase Hooper, of course, the young stud looks like a little run here. He's on. The babyface assassin is a good name for him because although he looks like he is not, he's still somewhat probably kicking it in his living room with his legs crossed, crisscross applesauce, eating Fruit Loops. I mean, the boy is nice. I really like seeing him fight. It was crazy kind of seeing him go, just like you said, going up against another elder statesman when he did, what was that, Miller? We did Jim Miller.
His last two opponents have been Jim Miller and Clay Guida.
Yeah, look at that. He's been taking out the old guys. So Austin Hooper and older fighters is kind of where he's at. But right now to see him going against Hernandez was probably a little more game. Actually probably has a little more grappling on it in this game, because Jim Miller, Jim Miller ain't wrestling nobody. Jim Miller out here, getting next and taking checks. But then next, seriously though, the rise and or fall of King Green versus Diego Ferreira. Like, which King Green are we going to see? You know what I mean? I give him a ton of credit for being somebody that is like never turning down fights, never says no, is on every card he can possibly be on. Because I mean, when we saw him in March for the Ankalaev fight, right? That was Ankalaev against Rufi, right? I thought that was a great matchup but
Oh, he
somehow,
got
some
knocked
way,
out. Brutally
he got knocked out crazy in that one. And that's not the first time, we've seen King Green be caught in a position that he was unprepared for. So for
I'm going to
me,
answer
I
your
want to see
question.
him
We're
come
going to see
back.
the same King Green we always see, and that's live by the shield, die by the shield.
Hey, but that makes for good. That makes for great fights, in my opinion. He's one of those guys. You put him on the card. Kevin Holland, King Green. We got him in the same box right now. You pull him out. We expecting to see some magic, whether the magic is happening to him or through him. I want to see King Green.
Bobby, what about you? What's a prelim that you're looking at here?
One that I don't even know if it's confirmed yet. Last night on the Contender Series, a dude that's in Chimaev's camp and that's trained with him, he won pretty much. He stopped a guy with a teep kick to the chest.
Yeah.
And they were saying they were going to get him a fight, and apparently they already have. So
yeah, I was reading that, but I don't know if it's confirmed. I've seen the flyers on that too. Yeah.
The reason I see it like possibly happening is it's just so much like Chimaev's story when he came into the UFC. It'd be like a perfect little nugget to throw on there, and it probably would be something where he could probably even showcase and do the turnaround. But I challenge you to find the bad fight on this card. Like I was in the space last night with Rob watching Contender, and we were just like going through the whole thing, and it just I will be locked in from both those tough fights in the very beginning. Really showed out, and that's like a kind of cool way to start it off, and then from there they fully just drop you in. It's going to be I don't think there's one fight on the prelims I would really put over the others just because of how well it's been built.
Yeah, it is stacked from top to bottom. The prelims, again, I'm right there with you guys. It's pretty stacked. I'm looking at some of just like the odds here on some of these too. Like King Green's a dog at plus 130, which he probably should be. But how about Edwin Barbosa is a favorite here at minus 150. So the old man Barbosa moving back to lightweight. So that'll be interesting.
It makes me feel so old that he's on the prelims.
Right.
It's just been that long.
Right. Let's get into the main card here. It opens up with Kai Asakura making his second fight here in the UFC. Remember, his first fight was the title fight way back in November, so it's been a while since we've seen him. But he makes his return against Tim Elliott. Tim Elliott's the last time out. He did get a win against Summer Marjay. He's actually 3-2 in his last 5. And Kai Asakura trying to kind of show that he belongs here. After losing that title fight in his first fight, they threw him to the wolf. That is Pantoja. But now he's got Tim Elliott. Kai Asakura's the heavy favorite here at minus 330 with Tim Elliott, the dog. Your thoughts here on these two ranked flyweights opening up the card?
Yeah, man. Hold on, buddy. Yes. My whole thought right here is let's get it on. You know what I mean? Tim Elliott out here, looking good, feeling good, but of course, somehow, some way, this Asakura guy is not here to play with him. I really feel like this is how you start off a card, right? Really with some fire, with some funk. Both guys, made for not just to stand in, but have a ground game attached to it. Asakura came in, and of course he took a loss, kind of, sort of in a grand fashion, but in a sense, I would have wanted him to maybe I would have wanted him to do anything else before he fought Pantoja in prime Pantoja fashion. You know what I mean? And this is kind of where I would have wanted to see him, like, maybe start his UFC career at, with a guy like Tim Elliott. For me, this is one where it could go either way. It's somewhat of a pick 'em in my mind, but Tim's not coming to play. I think we've seen the best of Asakura in other promotions, so the tape is pretty much heavy on him right now. But that Alexis Torres, not Alexis Torres. What is this one? Summer. Yeah, this one, the last one.
Summer Marjay.
Summer Marjay, yeah, that one. Okay, that was a good win. But then, of course, the Chimaev loss a few years ago. Now that was, I think I got a chance to watch that one in particular. We've seen the best and the worst of Tim Elliott in these past few years, and I want to know, is his best years behind him or not? This is a great way to kind of put it all on the table for Uncle Dana to gauge whether he's still there, whether he's still the same Tim, and maybe to gauge, hey, look, did we spend this money on Asakura for nothing, or is it worth it? So, are we picking him, or are we just talking right now? We picking him?
No, pick him.
All right. So if I gotta put some money on it, and I hate to feel this way, but I'm going against the grain, bro. I'm going with Asakura on this. I don't think
Asakura's the favorite, heavy favorite.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. I'm going in my mind against the grain is I would rather rock with Tim Elliott.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to get the grain against as far as like the money wise.
Yeah, the money is Asakura, but I would love Tim Elliott to win. Once again, y'all know me. I got my heart in my brain, and my son's got my ear pod in his ear, in his mouth.
And your heart, and your brain.
You know what I'm saying? So I really want to see Tim Elliott go out there and put on the show, not get knocked out. Let's see how many rounds we can make this, and but I'm still going with Asakura on this one.
Bobby, what about you? Real quick, Tapology has Kai Asakura as number 40 flyweight. Well, they got Tim Elliott ranked. This is according to Tapology. I had to scroll. I thought I'd missed Kai Asakura when I was trying to find the rankings. 17.
It makes sense, Tim's a UFC vet. I agree with Witt and what he said. This is probably a much more acceptable. This should have been Kai's debut fight.
Yeah, agreed.
And obviously, they wanted to kind of give Pantoja something spicy and kind of capitalize on the signing. But
it was spicy, all right. He ate it.
Yeah, but I mean, definitely, I think, like Witt said, this is a much better way for the UFC to kind of see what they got and stuff. I mean, the line kind of reflects that he probably should win, but, Elliott is never a tough out. And, he can strike, he can grapple, he can kind of take the fight wherever it goes. So I think we are going to learn a lot. I kind of get why they did put this opening the main card opposed to, maybe opening it with Bobby Green or something. This way they can come into the prelims off, that Bobby Green fight. And 125 has been that division that just keeps getting more and more interesting when you see these guys fight. And I wouldn't expect this to go any other way. But, Elliott is very tough, but for some reason, I think Kai just put in the work and is going to be able to get the win here. Whether or not that will be by finish, I would kind of lean that way. But at the same time, Elliott is so tough. I could easily see it being a split decision as well.
Yeah, Tim Elliott is tough. I think Kai he was able to get the UFC jitters out. We've seen guys that happens their first fight in the UFC. And now he fought for the title. Not much less. His first fight in the UFC was for the title against arguably the greatest flyweight on the planet right now. Not named in, that maybe include Demetrius Johnson. I don't know if DJ can get down to that weight anymore. So, so arguably the second greatest flyweight of all time at this point in time in his career. And his first fight in the UFC was against him. I think he's been working. I think he's going to get better. I think those jitters will be gone. Make it triple, boys. We all like Kai Asakura to get this one done on Saturday night. Let's get into The second fight here, the aforementioned Jared Cannonier, 18-8. He is going up against Michael Page. It's been a while. Michael was MVP was pretty active last year. But I guess it was February last time we saw him, but he had, I was thinking that was this year, but I guess February just seems so long ago when he beat Shara Bullet. And that was his bounce back after the Ian Gary loss, but he's won, he's 2-1 in the UFC. MVP is Jared's had a nice bounce back after that Kyle Bahar after 2 back-to-back losses where he lost to Imanov and Bahayo. He did beat RoboCop back in February. So 2 ranked middleweights here. Cannonier is the dog at plus 160. 2 older guys, Cannonier's 41, MVP's 38, Bobby. Your thoughts here on I think this fight's going to be a snooze. I don't like this fight. I think this has got Izzy versus Jared Cannonier written all over it again.
You don't like this one?
I don't like it.
Okay. Bobby, you go first, bro.
I'm definitely going to enjoy it.
I think it's a snooze fest. I think it's Izzy versus Cannonier all over again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, MVP definitely has the speed, and I think that's why you're a little bit reluctant to enjoy this, because it's like, well, will he be able to hit him? Will Cannonier be able to wrestle? I kind of get it, but at the same time, whenever you seem to overlook Cannonier, he shows up. I mean, he really took damage early in the RoboCop fight and then turned around from that and was able to get that win. So he's definitely a tough guy to really count out, but especially knowing how those 2 Izzy fights went and kind of the struggling that he had with the timing and stuff, and especially with it being 3 rounds, I'll probably have to lean Venom Page here just because I think he will be faster. But I do think this will be entertaining. Now, granted, I'm sick and I watch the Apex every weekend, so you might want to ask someone else on their entertainment factor, but I do think it has the right placement on this card, and it does belong on the main card there. So
I'm just glad it's 5. It's 3 rounds and not 5 rounds. So that's the only thing I could be a pleasure for.
Well, the reason I think I'm excited to see it is mainly because I think Venom Page will take less damage than Kyle Baharo took in the fight. So, I kind of got a metric here just to see, how good MVP looks, or, maybe he's going to struggle. So, I got a little bit of extra one to chew on for enjoyment for this one.
This is a big jump at the middleweight for MVP from fighting Shara Bullet to Cannonier. Tapology's got MVP at 33, and I believe Cannonier was, let me scroll all the way back up here, number 10 on Tapology. Your thoughts here? Me and Bobby seem to be kind of split. Bobby, who are you picking? You picking MVP?
Yeah, I think easy 30-27.
Whit?
I love Bobby. He's been my boy for a long time, but I gotta tell you, this is one of those where we're gonna disagree, bro. I think you're wrong. This is where I think the rubber meets the road. Jared Cannonier at one point in time was next in line, right there for the title. And
he fought for the title. And
he fought for the title and took an L, but I thought he was coming back right when I think he tore what is the ACL or something like that. I thought he was coming back up. So this is kind of like the rise once again for Jared Cannonier. Y'all know me, man. We was looking at MVP the entire time. I'm excited to watch him every time he gets in there. But that style, like stylistically,
I don't think this is slowly moving. Whit.
Yeah, I know. It's between the cat and my son. I don't know what's making it worse right now. But for me, I really, really am afraid for MVP against a guy like Jared Cannonier, who, if necessary, puts the paws on you, can take you to the ground, can do things that really aggravate a fighter, just like with the style of MVP. MVP wants to stand, he wants to point you out, he wants to get some leg kicks in. He wants to, get that really quick jab. He wants to switch stances, make it look cool. Jared Cannonier in that last fight, I think, showed us the multiple levels to his game that he's been working on, which include the takedown game and how he gets those hands locked behind your kneecaps. He's taking you to the ground. He's going to pummel you. He's going to slowly but surely win on the scorecard due to having positive position on the opponent. And I think that this is a really, it's an objective fight. What do you want to see? Do you want to see me stand up and fight, or do you want to see me win? You know what I mean? We've been doing this for a while, guys, and we've seen guys just win, which includes some of our favorite fighters. And yes, it's a snooze fest. It's boring. I don't like it, but it's what wins. When you can get your opponent to the ground, when you can have their neck up against the cage, and when you could kind of drag out 3 15 5-minute rounds of just nonsense, just nonsensical, not an entertaining fight. And I think in order to win this, that's what Jared Cannonier is going to do. So once again, I got to disagree with Bobby on this one. I'm going to run with Cannonier. I want MVP to win. And I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. This is just to keep it going. This is what's going to send up the fight of all UFC England. We're finally going to see MVP versus Leon Edwards in 2026.
I don't think so. If MVP wins this, he's not going to go back to welterweight. I think you can see MVP versus Izzy.
That would be sexy. But if he does go back to welterweight, that's all I was waiting on, because they supposed to said
Bobby, correct me if I'm wrong. I do think he did say he would go back down to welterweight for Leon, right?
I think he's willing to go back. He'll go up and down. It all just depends stylistically.
He's such a different like a body style, like a body type. You know what I mean? Either way, he's still long and lanky and stuff. So his weight and his dependency on having that type of power behind his punches is really not his thing. Instead of knocking you out, he's really just going to tap the shit out of you, and it's annoying. You know what I mean? It's like having a gnat, like be in your eyesight and then be right back out of your eyesight, because that's how fast he is. But yes, I would be excited if MVP was to lose. Then yeah, let's do Izzy. And if they really want to get a good fight night main event, let's do Leon and MVP in 2026. But I'm going with Cannonier tonight.
That's the reason why I'm very excited to see it, because that's kind of going to have to be Jared's game plan going in, is be able to get a hold of him and slow down MVP's speed. And will he be able to do that is why I just find it such a intriguing matchup. I could easily see it going either way.
Wake me up when the fight's over. Text me, because this fight's going to be a snooze fest.
I will. I'll be texting you the entire time.
I'm going to text you as well
between rounds.
I mean, please do, because I just think that this to me's got Izzy versus Jared written all over it, and I don't need to see that boring ass. That was boring then. It was boring. This is going to be boring on Saturday. I hate to say it, but yeah. I am a little bit on the entertainment side. I like to be entertained, unlike Mr. Bobby Blunts, and I'm a sick fuck, but I'm just not that sick. And
if it gets
Bobby's
fight
sick
of the night, we're in trouble. I'll agree with that.
Oh wow, yo, if they get a fight, if they get that fight of the night bonus, it's going down.
But give me I'm just like Izzy won. I'm gonna ride with MVP on this one. I think the Killer Gorillas, his prime is over, and it's past. So give me MVP here in a 3-rounder. I think it's a decision. So speaking of fight of the night, I think this could be, if it wasn't for the main event, could be fight of the night, and that is none other than Jeff Neal versus Carlos Prates. They were supposed to fight way back in March, I believe on the Miami card, and Jeff Neal had to pull out. And here they rebooked it. Remember, Prates fought in Kansas City, lost to Ian Gary. It was last time out. Jeff Neal, it's been a bit since we've seen Jeff. Last time he beat RDR back in October of last year. He has won 3 out of his last 5. Both these guys actually lost to Ian Gary, so there's that. And we know Prates had won like 13 in a row up until the March card where he took on Ian. And Prates is the favorite here at minus 250 against Jeff, who is the dog at plus 200. Wait, your thoughts here on? I think this is going to be some fireworks.
Yeah, man.
This is why I said wake me up after the fight, after the Cannonier MVP fight, because I need to tune in, have all eyes peeled on this one.
Yeah, you want to catch the intro videos and all of that for this one, probably, man. First off, y'all know me. We've done this on many occasions. We have to really inspect when the fight includes any of the fighting nerds. Bobby knows this. Nick, you know this, bro. Like we just gotta pay close attention, because it seems like every time one of them gets in the ring, the game changes for their opponent. Jeff Neal, real good, 16-6 right now, out here in the streets doing the Lord's work. I want to say Rafael Dos Anjos. I remember that one last year. I forgot when it was. I know it was like September, October, something like that. That was an exciting fight, but it was a leg injury. Okay, so what? But before that, it's a couple really, really hard losses in my mind. And let me look. Okay, Shavkat.
Got choked out by Shavkat bad.
Shavkat, Ian Gary, he's taken some really tough losses to really good competition in my mind. Vincent Luque, he got him. Santiago Ponzinibbio, he got him, but that was a split decision. That was extremely close. He hasn't had top tier competition like this in literally just about a year's time. So I want to see what Jeff Neal does. But just like I mentioned at the very beginning of what I was saying in my soliloquy, dog, every time one of these fighting nerd cats get in that ring, the game changes. And I'm excited to see what Carlos Prates does. Last time we got a chance to see him, he did lose to Ian Gary, but I think it'll be even worse now because he lost to Ian Gary. You know what I'm saying? Like we're not going to get extremely nerdy, but we've all seen episodes of Dragon Ball Z. Once you beat Vegeta's ass, I'm so sorry. Beat Vegeta's ass or Goku's ass one time and see what happens. They're going to get better. They're going to get stronger. They're going to come back. You've never not even one episode of Dragon Ball?
Nope.
Damn, bro. I'm sorry. Yeah, Gundam, anything? Did you watch Cartoon Network after school, bro? You didn't. Yeah, see, I used to do drugs and watch that. Anyway, that's a long story. But anyway, this is what I'm saying. I think
watching Rap City The Basement with.
The Basement was on, and then you got to watch the cartoons, okay? But then what would happen was literally, I think Prates is going to change up what he does in the ring based on what is best for Jeff Neal. And what's best for Jeff Neal is to figure out a way to stand and get you in an uncomfortable position where you can use that wrestling against you. And Prates may just lie and wait and try and figure out a way to get a sub in here. He's already had a couple, but it's more common for us to see Jeff Neal take a guy out rather than see it go all 3 rounds. I want to see what Prates does in this case. For me, I don't think he loses 2 in a row. I really want Jeff Neal to win, but I don't think Prates loses 2 in a row. So for me, I'm going Prates on this one. Jeff Neal, watch your neck. Simple. You know what I'm saying?
Bobby, your thoughts here on a Striker's Delight and Prates and Jeff Neal?
I definitely think, we're getting the fight we should have got. I made it no secret that I thought it was a little bit too big of a jump for Prates to go in there against Gary. He did have, success in the 5th round. I mean, you were there live that night. Did you think there was a chance that he was going to get it done in that 5th round?
I did. He had Gary hurt, and like I thought, Gary just was able to survive. I mean, at some certain points in fight, we've seen refs stop fights like that. So he had Gary down and hurt at certain time. I think that a lot of the way Prates fought that fight was because it was a 5-rounder. I think he reserved his tank. I felt like, and Ian's a pretty good fighter as far as like not putting himself in danger as well. But I think it seemed like Prates just wasn't throwing in those first like 2.5, almost 2.5 rounds, almost to the 4th round.
Yeah, and that was like my biggest takeaway from that fight is I definitely was impressed with his cardio there. So the fact that he doesn't have to really save it for those 2 rounds, does that play into any more of a factor in how aggressive he is? I do find it very interesting that both guys have a loss against Gary, because you could essentially look at how I don't think that Prates would really implement the game plan Gary implemented to beat Jeff Neal.
No.
But I could totally see Jeff Neal implementing the game plan that Ian Gary did to get the win. So I think if that Ian Gary fight never happened, Prates would probably be like a minus 350, close to a 4-1. But since we've seen that and we kind of know, okay, this is kind of where he struggles. I think it is why that number is a lot closer. And I'm definitely not counting Jeff Neal out by any means. I think he'll be game the entire fight. And, the entire, however long this should go, should be very entertaining. But when it comes to picking, I think I still probably will lean on the side of Prates bouncing back here and winning. But I do think Neal is a live dog the entire time, so it's really hard for me to count him out.
It is. Cross. We had to jump off real quick. He said he thought that Ian Gary Neal beat. Now Ian Gary's only lost 1 fight in his entire life, and that was to Shavkat Cross.
I think he was more referring. He thought Neal should have won that decision.
Oh, okay, maybe. No, I thought Ian pretty much like Ian was very sticking and moving in that fight. It was like 2-piece run, 2-piece. Like he was. I don't know that it was like Ian didn't fight like he just fought like he was supposed to win by the
and I know Ian caught a lot of shit from that performance.
Yeah,
and he followed up with saying, I'm fighting Jeff Neal. What do you want me to do? Stand there and get KO'd?
Yeah.
But Prates is kind of that wild man.
I do.
I think he will stand there and be like, okay. This is what you want to do, and
he'll bite down on the cigarette, Bobby, and start swinging.
Yeah, and I think Jeff would probably be, the first one to want to do some grappling exchanges, but definitely a low key candidate for a fight of the night for sure.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I'm gonna make it a clean sweep. I like Prates as well. But like you said, Jeff Neal he's this close. He was this close to getting the dog mask. He is a live dog. And I would, you could put a little bit of money on Jeff Neal at plus 200. And you could very live, I feel like. But, give me Carlos Prates. We get to the co-main event here. It's a short notice. Aaron Pico making his UFC debut. I mean, he was out there talking shit about Volk, said the old man's time is coming. He is 13-4 against Lerone Murphy, 16-0. Lerone Murphy fighting out back in the United States for like the first time, I feel like, in forever.
Not in the Apex. I mean, they've been sticking him in the Apex.
Yeah. Last time we saw Lerone was back in April. He beat Josh Emmett. By unanimous decision. this fight, this has got like, I mean, both these guys right here, a good win here, a dominant win from either of these guys could very well. I mean, Volk needs who knows what they're doing with Mozart, could make themselves I'm a number one contender here type, especially Lerone Murphy, who's been on the run that he's been on, and Aaron Pico, he was supposed to fight Mozart, who's the number one contender. Your thoughts here on Aaron Pico making his UFC debut and against a top contender, Lerone Murphy, signing up to say, hey, I'll take the short notice fight.
I mean, sometimes things work out for the better. When Pico and Mosavar fell off, I remember just holding my face and being like, why can't we have nice things? But yeah, at the same time, when the fight got originally booked, I didn't really like the fact that they were sliding Pico in right there. Not because I don't think he deserves it, but that's definitely a big bite of food. You're having him fight the number one guy. And lo and behold, the organization says no self-correction at all. We're going to give him an equally difficult fight. And I mean, I think it's kind of low-hanging fruit, but this is easily Pico's toughest opponent. That would have been the case against Mosafar, and that's definitely the case against Murphy here. On the Murphy side, I'm glad they gave him this opportunity. I mean, he had the fight against Emmett that was in the Apex, which he had a phenomenal showing, was able to, stay ahead and really take no damage and just really beat Emmett down. But, that fight wasn't going to get the same type of recognition because it was in the Apex and it just kind of felt lifeless.
It was decision, and people, people are always going to shit on it. Again, it kind of much like the Ian Gary thing. It's like, what do you want him to do? Stand there and bang with Josh Emmett, who we've seen people have seizures afterwards?
Yeah, and like they know, from Lerone's side, he's like, okay, you're going to give me a co-main event on the biggest card of the year. But not only that, you're going to actually give me the opportunity to upset your newest toy. Because, I mean, definitely when they do these bookings, you can kind of see how the brass feels and how, like, excited they are. And they all seem very, very high on Pico. And I think they would absolutely prefer for him to probably win. And, he was – I don't really see Pico taking this on short notice because he was already in camp. Like, if anything, maybe he's doing the double camp. And, I know Murphy was saying that he doesn't he can take fights on fairly short notice because he was, fairly ready. My only real issue with Lerone taking it on short notice is going to be the time zone effect. Like, is he going to be jet lagged at all? But, Lerone has been very good at being able to get back up after being taken down. So I think Murphy's going to, try to fight on the outside in the beginning, but Pico is going to bring that fight to him. And, I mean, his striking is just as underrated as his grappling. So, the UFC really hit it out the park with this being the co-main event. Like this fight would not even need to be on the card, and the card would still be great. This is just kind of like extra before we get to the biggest fight of the year. So,
yeah, remember this was a month ago. This was TBD versus TBD.
Yeah, and we were like, oh, fucking, it's gonna, they're gonna TBD us with some bullshit Paulo fight or something. The complete opposite. Like this fight actually matters for the kids there. I should probably earmuffs.
He's got his headphones in. You can say whatever you want.
Okay, wonderful. I'll still try to watch it, but so yeah, I mean, it's actually a co-main event that actually has meaning. Like if Lerone is able to get this win, then he absolutely has the right to be asking, for a title shot next or gain that opportunity, to where when he beat Emmett, it was falling on deaf ears. And if Pico is able to come in and beat an undefeated guy on, one of the biggest stages of them all, they'll probably, hold him at the top. my wishful thinking is they're still going to do Mosavar and Volk, and the winner of this will, get to probably be the number one contender. But at the same time, it's all about what have you done for me lately, and I could totally see the UFC just going off the winner of this and booking him against Volk. And I can't really hold it against Pico, for kind of the friendly trash talk. I think he is more responding back to Volk a little bit. So, that's all well and good. But I could really see this going down a ton of different ways, but especially going back to like the Patchy Mix fight and stuff. I don't want to say that Pico is going to maybe be in a little bit over his head, but I do think Lerone might just be a little bit more ready for the moment. But it's really hard for me to go against Pico at his debut at the same time. Like when they made the Mosafar fight, it was like, okay, they're making it impossible for me to root for Pico for his debut with what they were doing to Mosafar.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you kind of feel for Lerone in that same aspect. It feels like they're doing the same thing with him, trying to pull from his win streak and stuff. So I really find it a 50-50 fight. I could see if people are like, what are they doing, giving Pico a shot this quickly? I definitely think it's, Lerone that's going to be able to get it done. This is 3 rounds, right?
Correct.
Yeah. Yeah, for 3 rounds there, I'm going to lean Lerone Murphy, but I think it's going to be very close and definitely a split decision.
What about you here on the co-main, Lerone Murphy versus Aaron Pico?
Yeah, man. Bobby hit a lot of the key points that I'm gonna keep in mind as well. First of all, if we're looking at what I like to look at, of course, and shout out to Tapology. I went to Tapology today. Them boys got an ad as soon as you log on to the website. That's dope. So they're getting money now. But anyway, when I was looking into the numbers, man, and trying to see who likes what, it's one of those situations where, Aaron Pico, short notice, makes a lot of sense for, the numbers to be more so in Lerone Murphy's favor. Right now, out of 3,838 voters, 78% of them think that Lerone's going to win by decision. And then on the opposite end, the 22% think that Pico could win by decision. It's hard for me to go against Lerone, man, because if I'm looking at these names, and it's kind of really similar to that that Chase Hooper effect, where he's been taking out the old guard. Josh Emmett, Dan Ige, Edson Barboza. This is going to be one where I think he'll get a little tested. If Pico, Pico's already been training, but to have a full camp getting ready for Lerone Murphy, I think this would be a little closer. I'm really thinking, that the points will matter. Pico possibly not being prepared for that scramble that we've seen, Lerone put on display before. I think that's the work that's going to that would have been needed to beat him. You would have been ready to, sprawl if necessary, be ready to take, fight off your back and get in dominant position. Right now, I think it's more in the realm of Lerone winning by points, but still being a good fight. You know what I mean? If it was a 5-round fight, I would still go with Lerone. But right now, with it being 3, I think Pico is like somewhat of a slow starter. You know what I mean? When I saw, when was that Pico's last fight that I got a chance to watch, it was more so of me going, well, is he going to do it? Is it? He's got, he's winning, he's pointing, but he's not taking control of the fight like you want to see. Corrales in February last year, I think that was one of the ones we talked about, even though it was, on that PFL Bellator joint. It's more of me thinking he needs to have just a little bit more time to gauge himself for UFC style competition. And Lerone Murphy has already faced, so even though they're older, they were the old guard. Lerone Murphy is already, prepared for the style of fighting that he needs to win a UFC fight, especially a UFC fight that everybody's eyes will be on, like UFC 319 this weekend. So for me, although I love Pico, I think he's going to be really good, coming forward, especially if something miraculously happens and, Bow, he gets a knockout or something like that, and he jumps up in the ranking at like 9-10 or something crazy. I would not be surprised. But if it goes the distance, which I'm pretty much predicting right now that it will, I'm just going to run with Lerone. And then I'm interested to see what they're going to do at the top. You got Ortega, you got Yair, you got Diego. Now I said most y'all up there. What are they going to do if Lerone wins? And I think he's going to be on an 9-fight win streak. Is it 8?
Well, he's 16-0, so he's technically on a 16-0 fight.
Yeah, he's beating everybody at the point. So I'd be interested to see what the UFC fight makers will do if he takes on Pico and gets the W. But right now I'm rolling with Lerone on this one, and I'm going by split decision.
Yeah, the little guy says the same thing with. I'm right there. I'm kind of right there with you guys. I think it's going to be a close fight. I think it was 5 rounds. I might look at Pico. I like Pico a little bit more, but the 3 rounds, I think it's going to take him a round and a half to maybe get acclimated. I think that UFC jitters is a real thing. I mean, we saw it. I mean, that Patchy mix looked like somebody just like took it over his whole body in that fight. Pitbull, same thing in his debut, right? So it's like I really think that's like a real thing.
And Asakura, since we're gonna be watching them at the beginning of the card.
Asakura, right? Like we've seen a lot of guys come in on their UFC debut and just not have like I mean, Mike Chandler had the best one maybe of like from the Bellator days coming over.
And he's still living off that debut. He's still living.
Yeah. I'm gonna hedge I like Lerone here by decision. So give me Lerone here. We get to the main event. It is none other than Dricus du Plessis versus Khamzat Chimaev, both undefeated fighters in the UFC. Dricus is 23-2. He is on he's really undefeated in the UFC, but his last loss was to a guy named Robert Solodic in KSW way back in that doesn't even tell me the year. So October 2018. So it's been a while. His last fight, we saw him fight Sean Strickland in February by unanimous decision. Before that, he beat Izzy by submission in August of last year. This will be his 3rd title defense, and we finally get it. It's Saturday night, as long as the weight cut goes okay on Friday. Not to jinx it at all, but we finally get Khamzat Chimaev in a title fight. The last time we saw him was in October last year, and here he is getting ready to fight for his first ever title at 14-0. Whit, I'm going to start with you. I'm going to let Bobby out, then I'll go, and I'll let Bobby go last since this is his fight. This has been his baby, his most anticipated fight. So, Whit, I'll start with you. Your thoughts here on the main event.
Every once in a while, the UFC gives us gifts, like real gifts. This is one of them. Every once in a while, you could
come early with Christmas.
Right. You could storybook, the boogeyman of the UFC only being able to fight in Arabic speaking countries. You got to go to Abu Dhabi. You got to go to Saudi Arabia. You got to see him in the Emirates. But now his immune system's 100%. What are we going to do? How scary is this?
Somebody made sure he could get into the country with that visa.
Yeah. Somebody over there is greasing a lot of palms to get him here. You know what I'm saying? And then the Dricus story. You know what I'm saying? Somebody who came, and I don't want to say he came out of nowhere to kind of to damper his storyline, but the Dricus storyline to me is one of the most interesting in a few years. And we saw it literally take place right before our eyes. We saw him get intimidated. We saw him get, kind of pushed to the brink of saying things he probably shouldn't say, and still rising above that and becoming champion, beating who was, camper trailer America's favorite guy, in Sean Strickland. But right here is where the rubber meets the road. Drickus is out there in South Africa training at 15,000 feet elevation. So Chimaev got with that guy that's in California that's training cats for the Tour de France, so he can get his gas tank ready. If there's one thing we know, there will be no breaks in all 5 of these rounds. Both of these guys are going to be ready to go the entire time. I've never seen Drickus calm down. I've never seen him take his foot off the gas. I've never seen Chimaev do the same thing. This, for me, is going to be one of those where I'm hoping it does not become a stalemate of wrestling. I'm hoping it does not. But I think that both fighters will come into I think they're going to come into the octagon prepared to negate what they think is the other man's strength. And I really feel like if you let Drickus hit you hard enough, which he has been, he's been pointing guys out and taking them out of their game. I think that's where Chimaev will go, well, he hasn't seen my wrestling, and vice versa. So I'm praying that this does not turn into okay, I got hit 2 or 3 times. I don't want him to hit me no more. Let's wrestle. For 5 rounds. You know what I mean? But I'm excited to see it. I feel like we've all waited to see where the Chimaev saga will take us. Like I said at the very beginning of my soliloquy, dog, he's been the boogeyman for a really long time. And it's just been unfortunate that between his health and travel situation, we couldn't get probably the best version of him at least a year and a half ago. But we'll take this one, goddammit. So I'm gonna run. I'm gonna stick with the South African on this one, bro. I'm not gonna lie to you. I really feel like Drickus is at a place where, although very calm, very committed, very methodical in his approach, he won't be afraid of that big boy talk that Chimaev comes in with. He won't be afraid of the storyline. He won't be afraid of what's happened before. He won't really be, shook by seeing him basically crack Robert Whittaker's jaw in like 0.2 tenths of a second. None of that will matter to him. And I think that he will take the acumen that he has gained and learned in the ring, in the UFC, to Chimaev, which we normally don't see nobody take it to Chimaev. We saw Robert Whittaker kind of do it, and we saw how that ended, but nobody normally takes it to Hamza. This is where I want to see Drickus take it to Hamza. Don't sit back there and let him attack you. Don't sit and get that and fighting on your back foot. Let me see you put him in an odd predicament where Chimaev has to fight off of his back foot or off of his back if you get dominant position. Because that wrestling, the point is the wrestling of the two of them. Somebody's got to not be able to change position. And I'm really, really thinking that, we saw Drickus do Izzy bad, in the past. We saw Drickus do, Sean bad, twice? I think.
Robert bad.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? We saw him beat Robert. We saw how it looks, but this is going to be the one. Like, if he beats Hamza, this is it. I don't know what else. I don't know what else to put him. But he doesn't even have to beat him, like by unanimous decision. It could be split decision, and I'll take it. But I'm running with Drickus on this one. The belt's going back home to South Africa. Big shout outs to Cape Town. All my people out there. Nigel boy, what's going on? I see you. Shout out to you. Yeah, it's going back to Africa, folks. I'm sorry.
There's a lot of so at one point, both these fighters had a lot of questions. Right? I mean, DDP is still the most awkward fighter I've ever seen in my entire life.
Extremely awkward.
I mean, the way he fights, even his opponents say he's a puzzle, and he hasn't been figured out. And it's the way he fights. I'm becoming more a fan every day of DDP. The way he talks, the way he shit talks, It's like not in your face, but it's like nice slights and things like that here to fucking make me laugh. This guy has it. And then you look at Hamzat, exploded onto the scene, and then is like had question marks since. Is the gas tank there? Is it this? This is Hamzat. This is Hamzat's only second fight like against a ranked middleweight. Let's remember that. He did beat Robert Whitaker pretty handedly, crushed his teeth in his face. I look at it as this though. DDP is a big middleweight, where Robert is a smaller middleweight, and Hamzat is, I think, just average middleweight. I know there's some videos, pictures where it looks like Hamzat looks bigger than DDP. Wait till Saturday. I think that'll change.
Yeah, that water. I think that water is going to play a big factor when he rehydrates.
I think I just don't know, man. I really this is a close fight. I think if Hamzat does not get DDP out of there in the first 2 rounds, I think it's DDP's fight. The question of does he have the gas tank to go 5 rounds is still out there. That has not been answered yet. That has been answered for DDP. I mean, he got his nose fixed and he can actually fight. I mean, remember the Derek Brunson fight. He was getting beat down in that first round, and then he comes back and wins. Darren Till, very similar. Like, they were thrown. Then he beats him. Then he fights Robert Whitaker and just smokes. I think to me, the way he beat Whitaker was more impressive than Hamzat. I know it's lesser time, but just more impressive. Then he beats Sean for the title in a close fight. Then he gets better. He chokes out Izzy. Then he gets, then he beats Sean and shows that first fight shouldn't, the fight that didn't even really need to happen, just mops the floor with Sean Strickland in all 5 rounds earlier this year. Hamzat is Hamzat. We don't still know. You know what I mean? Like, we just don't know. Could he win? Absolutely. He could go in there and just ragdoll DDP. I mean, I saw a video today. He's picking up 300-pound DC and ringing around the Rosie with him. So he can easily pick up DDP. But it's a little bit different when you got somebody trying to fight you back. With that being said, though, at plus 210, my dog on the card, and still UFC middleweight champion of the world, Dricus Du Plessis, baby. I'm picking DDP every time until somebody beats him.
Yeah, I can't blame you. I cannot blame you.
I'm going to throw the rock to you way back, and 8 months ago, we said, what are the fights that you were looking to the most? And you said the fight I'm looking to the most is not John Jones versus Tom Asamoah. It is not this fight. It is not this fight. It is, in fact, Dricus Du Plessis versus Hamzat Chimaev. You circled it. You couldn't wait like a little boy on Christmas. And here on Saturday, it is your Christmas. Very rarely do I not go last. I will give you the floor here, and you can go last on your favorite fight of the year.
I appreciate that. Kind of tipped your hat when the dog mask didn't go on with Lerone Murphy, but definitely. I mean, you kind of said it all. The anticipation behind this has always been, I truthfully have no idea what the fuck is going to happen. I mean, there could be so many different scenarios I could lay out.
So many different variables.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, I just don't know if it's going to really mean much. Going into the fight, like before it's like even in the cage, it really amazes me how much Chimaev has matured and grown up. He's almost a different fighter now. You're kind of used to, him with the whole I kill everybody mentality, screaming at the top of his lungs, saying, give me the belt, give me the belt. Now it's just a lot more measured, not wasting any energy at all that he doesn't need to be. Like, even with his interviews, just, getting directly to the point, media trying to set him up for sound bites, just not taking the bait at all. He says, we'll see Saturday, brother. Get in there. And then you got Drickus, the same thing, but someone that has probably been counted out in almost every fight he's been in, except for the last fight, like the rematch with Strickland. And, he's always the underdog. People are always doubting him. You can't figure out his style, whether it's the awkward striking, being able to set it up with the grappling, just his overall brute strength. And just looking at that, I could just see so many different scenarios of how this plays out. To me, I think the fight will really get interesting in round 3. You kind of led with it there. Like, if Chimaev can't get him out in the first round, where does it look going forward? And I think Chimaev's best opportunity here is in the starting round. Do not shoot for that takedown. People really get it twisted about his grappling being so much higher than his striking. When he is, don't get me wrong, his grappling is nothing to fuck around with, but his striking is just as equally underrated. And I think it would definitely fit him, especially with this being a 5-round fight, to go in it striking and kind of testing DDP and seeing where it's at. Because Drickus is going to be kind of waiting for that shot, from the start of the fight. And, Chimaev has like the best first shot in the game. It's incredible how he's just able to get,
and he shoots from far out too. Like, he can shoot from far out.
Yeah, it's every time he does it, it's even more incredible. Like, just such a quick first shot,
like a fucking cat.
And like you said, if he does get the takedown in the first round and is able to get Drickus's back, if it was anyone else, I'd really question if he'd be able to survive that position. But I have really no doubt that Drickus is going to be able to at least get back to the stool. Like, the reason this is my most anticipated fight is not because I've been waiting for Chimaev to get a title shot for the better part of 2-3 years. Absolutely, that's a part of it. But it's truly not knowing what the hell is going to happen. This is the best meets best. David versus Goliath, the immovable object. You could use all those different type of soliloquies. This is what the UFC is about. The best fighting the best. And the reason it was circled as my number 1 fight this year is because I knew it was probably the one fight where it was the best versus best that we are actually getting. And we only have to wait another 3 days for it to happen. And, I'm going to be knocking on wood the entire time talking about this. The most interesting part will definitely be Friday morning. I'll be kind of on pins and needles, like waiting to see every fighter make weight, not just the main event. But like in my mind, I don't even care about the press conference. Like, I see people talking about like, oh, what's Drickus going to say at the press conference? I don't give a flying fuck. All the talk is over. When these two men get locked in the cage, we are going to get something special on Saturday. And I would implore all the Drickus fans, all the Chimaev fans, just enjoy this moment. Stop bickering with each other on Twitter like you're 15 years old. What we are getting on Saturday is the best product that the UFC can offer. And I cannot wait for it to happen. It is going to be absolute fucking cinema. You can give me all the memes in the world. Here we go. And I really don't know who to pick. Like this, normally when I'm thinking about this, sometimes I'll make the prediction on the pod, or I'll know after like what you guys say, like a confident of what way I'm going to lean. I've been thinking about this motherfucker for 2 months, and I keep going back and forth, back and forth. You know, if it goes past the third round, I would probably favor Dricus to win the fight. But at the same time, I can, as much as I've counted out Dricus, I can no longer count out Chimaev. Like the boogeyman that we thought was all here, he showed that he was back with that Robert Whittaker fight, you know? And a lot of people said, hey, I think a lot of stuff was still shown untested, and, you know, a lot of stuff was left to be desired about where his cardio will be in the 4th and 5th round. And call me crazy, but I'm just not concerned about it. I think both of these guys are going to come in conditioned in the best shape of their life, and we are just going to get a fight of the night. And I'm just so grateful that I'm going to be able to witness it.
Who are you picking?
I was just about to say we got.
You know? Yeah, I guess I'm going to have to. And I do this with, you know, no shade to the other opponent. I think it's going to be a long, hot fight for both gentlemen, but I am going to have to go and new middleweight champion in Khamzat Chimaev.
All right. So we got 2 and steals and 1 and new.
Wow.
And the logical move would definitely be to do and still. Like
I think a lot of people, not really, because Khamzat's the favorite.
Yeah, and I mean, if there's one opponent that is going to beat Chimaev, it's standing in front of him on Saturday night. Like Dricus is absolutely that guy, but I don't know. There's always, you know, the better, and like if Dricus actually gets this done, I'm sorry, Chris Weidman. Yes, he surpassed you at 3, but easily number 2 best middleweight of all time. Like he has a win over Izzy. I have no problem with everyone saying like, well, he needs more title defenses.
The run that he would have been on, the run that he to the title and after to get to the title and everything else has been an incredible run outside of Anderson Silva.
Yeah, and if Dricus wins on Saturday, I don't know who's going to beat him.
Kaya Bahario.
That's going to be pretty hard when don't even get me started on that bullshit. But I mean, Imavov and Dricus would be a great matchup style.
RDR versus Dricus would be fun. 2 fucking big Gumbies fighting each other.
Middleweight is very healthy at the top once they get Kyle out of the top 5.
I think he adds a new face.
And listen, hey,
not to sell Kyle short. Obviously, if he can beat Imavov, he will also be in that conversation. But yeah, 1 through 6 is very healthy. The
Agreed.
division past that is pretty rough, and it's going to be a lot of, you know, apex main eventers. But you know, at the top, it's solid. But you've let me ramble on about this long enough. I appreciate you letting me go last, and I just can't. I'll probably change my mind 5 times before the fight happens on Saturday. Like
mid fight, just switch it up on us right quick.
Yeah, I mean the pick is locked in, but mentally I still don't think I've made up my mind. But we don't need a 3-hour and 30-minute show.
So. I get it. Whit, before we get out of here, you got any final thoughts?
Yeah, man. For like always, bro, it's always great to be back. I appreciate it. We're gonna get into the full swing of things in the month of September. Of course, in September we will be previewing one of the most highlighted spectacles in the last 2 years as we get ready to see none other than Canelo Alvarez fight Bud Crawford on Netflix of all platforms. So I'm excited, man. I was looking at this on the calendar. I was like, dang, I gotta text Botkins. I'm gonna try and get on the show. So it was perfect timing that you hit me up, Bobby. You know you my boy. We gotta talk about some things as we get into the next year. Hey guys, anybody doing some fantasy football?
Yeah, we already got an LTS league.
Okay, yeah, all right. So yeah, I got a space.
You're in that league. You're in that league.
I gotta hit you guys up, but yeah, I got like another space or two in the rec room 1 2 just in case y'all want to come hang. But yeah, man, I'm excited to come back September. It's fourth quarter. We're gonna be doing some big things. So I'm ready to hang with the gang.
Bobby, any final thoughts before we get up out of here?
I mean, you said Saturday's my Christmas. Basically, all of August is my fucking Christmas between this fight and then all the fantasy drafts. And then, yeah, it's pretty wild that we're going to get some football and then I'll casually just get to watch Canelo versus Bud on Netflix. So a lot to look forward to. And I just can't fucking wait. Let's go.
Yeah. That's pretty much it. We'll be back next Wednesday, 8 o'clock Central, 9 Eastern. We'll talk all about the what happens on Saturday night. I'll be back with the LTS gang on Fall Start Thursday tomorrow night, 8 o'clock Central, right here on the network, the Bodkin Show here. We'll be covering the NFC South. So, yeah, so tune into that. Can't wait. I believe it's the South. Yep. Yeah. They did so we'll be, or maybe it's the AFC South. No, I don't know. We're one of the Souths. I can't remember. Actually, let me tell you real quick. Oh yeah, it is the NFC South. So we'll be talking the NFC South, tomorrow for the preview. And, so tune into that 8 o'clock Central, 9 Eastern right here. Other than that, folks, we'll be back for the brand new episode of Headkicks and Haymakers next Wednesday, 8 o'clock Central, 9 Eastern. For Wit, my boy Bobby Blunts, I'm Bodkins. Be a friend, tell a friend, folks. Like, subscribe, share. See you then.
Thanks so much for joining us, and until next time, let's talk sport, friends. Thanks for watching.
Julia just texted me, and she's texting me, your Christmas, I roll, my hell.